Hello and welcome to the Build a Bear Workshop. My name is Pat Bear. I'm here to build a model kit. I'm also here to hang out with all of you. And I'm going to start by throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego to the site, the Tier 2 Blue emote in chat. If you are currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you are not yet a subscriber, you can say hi. You can use other people's emotes. If you feel like being a lurker, you can go ahead and lurk. Also, put the emotes into chat so that we can say thank you to Nathan Explosion. Thank you very much, Nathan, for renewing your sub using Prime. I appreciate that very much. 37 months. That's a lot of months. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. I know Nathan enjoys when I talk about anime here for my anime club video, which will be taking place on the 23rd of September. I'll be recording that. So look for that in a little over 2 weeks. Because I know you enjoy those. Speaking of subs, it's September. If you want to become a subscriber and save money, you can do that. If you want to gift a sub, you could do that as well, of course. Later in the month, you can get, there'll be extra bonus gift subs, so that's nice. But if you just want to get it for yourself and save a little bit of money, you can do that. And who doesn't want to save money? I mean, I guess there are people who have no interest in saving money. I guess they exist. There must be people out there that just don't care. But that ain't me. I care. And I care for you. You may notice that things look a little different here. And that's true. I'm looking at my monitor here, OBS, and it's different. It's not exactly where I want it, but it's getting there. Thank you, Aristofan, for picking up off my Amazon wish list a new webcam. I got a new webcam here. It is way brighter than my previous webcam. It's actually HD instead of being just 720. It's 1080p and looking great. And also, I have to get the colors right. The colors aren't right, and I will get them correct. Right now, they're not quite what I want, but they're getting there. The white balance is a little off. I'll figure it out. One big thing, as we go to the overhead camera here, one big thing about this new webcam is that it doesn't have a zoom. It doesn't have a digital zoom on it. And so what I am doing was I made my, I actually had to just make the webcam, image here. I just had to expand it to kind of just be a little closer and zoom in a little bit because I'm removing the background, so it's okay to do that. And then also I physically moved my monitor stand because the webcam sits on the monitor stand. Now I have thought maybe I could put the monitors back and then have I have a webcam mount that I could post somewhere and so it would just live. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna do that. So I physically moved it, which should only negatively affect building when I do Lego because now I'll have less room to put Lego around the build surface. Which shouldn't be a big deal, but it is going to be something for me to get used to. But it also means that I can read stuff a little better because my monitors are closer to my face. I have to get used to it, and I had to move this monitor because then this one came forward because my monitors are like this, and then there's one they got the two here, and I got one that's on an angle, and so I had to adjust the angle because these came forward. It's a whole thing. We're going to be starting tonight a new model kit because the Dragon Ball Daima kit only took one stream. We built it all on Saturday. So I am building a kit that came out in 2012. This is a reissue of the 2012 Zaku Mariner. And I know what you're thinking, Pat. This is the underwater Gundam. Shouldn't it be Mariner? Like the sea, like a mariner. And generally, I would say yes, that you calling it the Gundam Mariner would be the right, or the Zaku Mariner would be the right thing. Except you have to remember that sometimes English words just come out wrong in other languages. And that is the case here. Because we're calling it the Gundam Mariner because there is another mobile suit that exists that is called the Marine. The Zaku Marine also exists. It's a different kit, the same mobile suit, but a different kit was called the Zaku Marine So it's the Mariner. They added an R. Either the R is wrong or they should have added an R when they did the other one. But it's the same exact mobile suit. It's just a different kit. So it's the Mariner, not the Mariner. Will I stumble and say the Mariner? Probably. But I'm going to try to say the Gunpla, the Zaku Mariner. I'm going to try to say that the way it's supposed to be. It has been a while since I built a model kit that had polycaps because I have been blessed on working on modern kits. The Witcher Mercury Plus, kits that do not require them. And that's been really nice. But we gotta go back to where things were. Because we're doing an old kit. Here's some of the box here. Amphibious mobile suit. Neo Xeon. This is the Earth Federation stole some Zakus and made them underwater vehicles. Basically. Which is cool. Cool for them. Good job. They did the thing that they, it's fun. It's a fun Zaku. I like building them. As I say here, we build, while I primarily say that we are the premier Death Scythe building streams, we certainly have built a lot of Zakus because they've made a lot of Zaku mobile suit model kits. So, they make them, I build them. This kit will probably take some amount of panel lining with the black that should look okay on this blue and will look better on this green. It'll look way better on this than this, but we'll still panel line everything, and of course it'll look good on the gray, the dark gray. Hey, Aristofan! I mentioned it at the top of the stream, but thank you very much for this webcam. Appreciate you very much. I have not locked in the settings yet as far as color goes. All that. I do need to tweak some settings. But I think I like where I am situated on this webcam, on the board here. I think I figured that part out. Hey, Lord Crashington, welcome. I still haven't recorded anything with this. I had to move myself around a bit for the next videos. The next video I will record that is not a live stream, as far as I know. The next time that I will be doing a video, I need a C5. I will be doing the next episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club, which comes out on Monday. So I'm recording it on Friday or Saturday. I haven't decided yet, depending on my schedule when I record that. But by then, I honestly have to make a decision. The field of view on this webcam is far wider than my previous webcam. And it, as mentioned, it's working great. I like the quality of it. I have to, like I said, I feel a little pale right now, so I need to kind of maybe turn. I don't think the brightness is it. I think I think I have to lower the contrast, and that would be probably better. But I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Lashbrook just resubbed with Prime saying, got no jokes for the number 93. Just 7 more to go. Indeed. Let's throw the Bear Cave Lego. Whoops. Wrong button. Okay, great. Wrong button. I wanted the applause. Thank you very much, Lastbrook, for renewing your sub. Thank you for using Prime. Thank you to both you and Nathan for using Prime. I appreciate it very much. You got that token. You're using it for B. That's cool. Throw some notes in the chat. That was annoying that I messed that up. What was I saying? Yeah. So as far as Pat Baer's Anime Club goes, when I first started doing Pat Baer's Anime Club, most of the screen was the images that I was showing, and then I was like this. So like this, or when I'm playing a video game, right? And then eventually I was like, I should be bigger than that. It's a strange choice that I have made here. I'm going to switch that. I'm going to make myself bigger. And then That was when I wasn't using a background remover, because originally I had been using a background remover, so it made sense to kind of swap that. So now I kind of have to decide. I'm like, because the field of view on this webcam is different from my previous, the image that is going to be shown will be different, right? Like it'll just look different. And I'm like, is that good or bad? I don't know. So I'm going to play around with it. This next episode of Pat Bear's Anime Club will kind of decide how things look. I don't need the background remover for Kuma Baer, because there's very little of it, because it is a vertical. It is just like me and then a GIF above me. So I'm like, I don't need that. I think I can just use it as is. And I think that'll be fine. But I got to play around with it as far as Pat Bear's Anime Club goes. And if I do decide that I'm going to do Pat Bear's Anime Club without my background, then I can fully and completely retire the background set that I have, which is just a couple boxes with some model kits on top of it. And if I do that, that'll just mean that I can then stop having to reset that when it falls and having to clean it and a bunch of maintenance that has to go on that, and that would be kind of good. Because that doesn't show up in Kuma Baer videos. So I don't know. Speaking of Kuma Baer, I tweeted it out, and it's also on my Blue Sky and Mastodon, a link to my Kuma Baer video from February about Bloom Into You. This is Pat Bear's public service announcement that if you were meaning to eventually get to watching that show, please watch it this month. Because it originally was on Hulu and High Dive. I got a donation. Good. I got a donation towards my project. That's awesome. Originally, it was on Hulu and High Dive. It is no longer on Hulu, and it is leaving High Dive at the end of this month. Bloom Into You is a queer high school romance story that is really well done. It is a phenomenal piece of animation. You should watch it. If you haven't, please watch it before you legally can't in the United States, because it hasn't been announced that it's been picked up by anybody. Now, are there ways to watch it other than that? Of course there are. But the thing with Kuma Baer is that I only recommend the ways to watch it legally, because I don't want, every once in a while I say something like, it's out there if you want to find it. I did that with the Big O, because I think people really should see the Big O, and there is currently no legal way to do that, which is a shame. We did get a donation here, so I do want to just check that real quick as a $5 donation towards my goal of glasses and the like. So I just have to make a note of that. That we are currently at $355. And once we hit $375, so just $20 away from me having to change my goddamn list again. So that's nice. Nice that we've done that. So I had to update that while I was thinking of it. My apologies for all that. This is maybe the contrast on this is too much. Am I too big in this? I don't think I'm too big here. I'll have to look at an old stream to see if I feel like I'm too big here, but I think the contrast here is too much on the board. Yeah, we'll do that. That's good. All right, that feels better. Yeah, that feels better. But I don't know. I haven't played around with B and how I look. But yeah, I'm thinking I might just do the future Pat Bear's Anime Clubs as large image, smaller me. But I also might just do me as a normal size with a background and switch the backgrounds around. Also, it was suggested that the background should be the large image. So let's see. Hold on. I need to give an example of this. So if I go here and then I do this, and then I go to slideshow. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. We'll try this out. So This is my recording. This is how a Pat Bear's Anime Club normally looks. Obviously, things are different. Without the background, I have a background, but it's just here in the corner there. So then if I copy this, and then let's see, what do I want to do here? I want to copy it, and then I want to paste reference. Okay, so it's not what I'm doing. All right, so I got to do another. Let's see. Display capture. And I do display. Okay, and then I do that, and then I put that there. So this was something that's, hey, Dirty, welcome. This is something that somebody suggested I do, is that I have the slideshow that I make for Pat Bear's Anime Club as my background, but also as the reference. And I gotta tell you folks, I don't hate this idea. I don't think it's a good idea, but I don't hate it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think for sure I'm gonna do this, but I kind of like the idea of whatever I wanted to have just becomes the background, and then you can see it in the corner. Like, again, I don't think this is a good idea, but this is a funny idea. But yeah, then it gets that cut off, and I don't like that. You need a small version every quarter. Yes, so I'd have to go fully commit to it. And again, I don't think I'm going to fully commit to that. But it is to me, that is a funny idea, a funny premise. Again, probably won't do that. Most likely, I'm just going to do like the brick background or something like that. And then maybe I'll change the background like every couple months or so and do it like that. But I think that's what I'm gonna do. But I'm also gonna play around with doing the video where there's like, no, I don't want. You know what? I don't want to do my a slideshow being like the full size. That's what I used to do. And when I look back at that, I go, I didn't like that. It'd be one thing if I was showing like videos. I'm just showing images. They're just references to the shows, you know? The main thing is me talking. So I think I'm just gonna have the background removed. But I'll play around with it. You know what? I have to set up my little backdrop on my bed and look at it and see how I feel about that. Like, that's really the important thing right now, is to do that, which I haven't done yet because I'm just still trying to dial in this webcam. Still trying to get it looking good. And then once it's looking good, then we'll move on to the next thing. But yeah. Was not expecting that to arrive last night, and I was just like, oh, shit, all right. Came in yesterday. I went out to go do something in the yard, and then I was like, wait, what's this? What the hell? There is a lot of text here, so I'm going to have to read this text with a translate. This is for 2012, so there is not a lot of English in these instructions. This is basically like a year, 2 years before that really came into prominence, which is fine. But we use Google Translate here for the Mariner and hit camera. And then what do you have to say? Cut out neatly, select and install. So, okay, that's all it says. All right, that's great. And then cut out neatly. Yeah, sure. Great. Great. I think what they're saying here is I can do one of the two front pieces. So we'll take them out and we'll see which one we like better. We also have to apply a sticker. Our first sticker of the stream. We do have quite a few stickers here. But yes, basically there are two chest pieces here, and we can decide which one we want to put on there. I imagine I'm going to do the blue one because I think that will look better. But maybe once this is all together, I'll look at it and go, and then I think about it, this really doesn't, this needs a little bit of pop, and it doesn't have that pop. Maybe I'll think that. I don't know. But I think that's better. But we got to put this piece on first anyway, so. We got a full coverage sticker here that we got to put on. So we'll get that on there. Nice and easy. Yes, so Dirty, we talked about this at the top of the stream, and I'm going to have to repeat myself a few times, and it's fine. So here's the deal. It's actually probably this Gunpla, this piece of Gunpla here, is probably not either the Mariner or the Mariner. It's probably just the Marine. It's probably just the Zaku Marine, because there's another Gunpla kit where they only called it the Zaku Marine. So it's probably just the Marine, but the box has an R on it. This says the Zaku Mariner. Now, again, you'd probably pronounce it Mariner because the ocean. But there is another kit and also an action figure that is just the Zaku Marine. So I'm calling it the Mariner because I think that's what the name is. Which I'm not trying to like pretend like I'm an expert in this stuff, but like that's what they went with, and I guess I'm going to go with that too. So should it be the Mariner? Probably. Am I going with the Mariner? Yeah. I did do my due diligence on the research, and what I found was most people call it the Mariner, except for real old Gunpla builders. Gunpla builders who are my age or older we're calling it the Mariner. So I was like, it's probably the Mariner then. Okay, so now we have to look and see which one we want to put on here. Now this one is the right color, and I believe matches with the reference photo that we were given. Yes. So this is the one we're probably going to go with. But I'm not ready to throw this, to say that it's not this one. Because maybe when we're done here, I'll look at this and go, I really wish this chest had a little more pop of color other than the sticker. And I'll say, it should have been this. But I don't think it should have been this. I think this is the way to go. So we're going to go with this for now. And again, I might decide that that it needs a little pop of color. We got the option, and I appreciate they gave us the option. And that's the chest, so let's panel line this thing. We will have to work on the bottom of this kit as well. I think this is a 2-stream build. I think we will finish this on Thursday. That is my guess, because there are not a lot of sprues for this kit, and there's not going to be a lot of panel lining, because most of this is a dark blue-green, and panel, and black marker is not really going to pop on it. It was kind of fun doing the kit on Saturday and using the brown marker, my least used marker. It's kind of nice doing something with that. Even if it was just the ears of Goku and Vegeta. I did put on my Amazon wishlist the Goku and Piccolo minis that go with this, so we could get a full diorama going at some point. That is on my wish list. If you'd like to pick that up, I might pick it up myself at some point. We'll see. It's a little pricey for what you get. It's a little pricey to me for a 1-stream build. I'll say that. But you don't have to worry about that stuff. I have to worry about that more than you. But I would say for me anyway, it's probably like $26 for 1 stream is probably too much money. Probably. So I'll get it someday, but it'll probably be on sale. I'll probably wait on it. Or if I have like a bunch of gift cards or some shit, then maybe I'll get that. All right, we need C10, C1. This so far feels very much just like a Zaku, only this Zaku has a sticker on it, which is unusual. more unusual than normal. But so far, we haven't gotten to the weird part yet. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Pardon me while I sneeze. There we go. I muted the mic this time because I had enough notice. And then I was going to unmute the mic and be like, actually, I don't have to sneeze. And then I did. So you're welcome. That would have been loud on this microphone. A couple things to talk about here. Let's see. Got some news of things. This is not from Kotaku or from game developer. This is an Ars Technica story, and it is a follow-up of a previous Ars Technica story, which I don't think I talked about last year. So last year, they wrote, Ars Technica wrote an article about Alcero. Alcero is a GitHub user, and they were creating the iPod Clickwheel Games Preservation Project. The idea is they wanted to have playable offline, because who knows when these are going to fully go down completely, an archive of that you could install via a virtual machine and sync your account there, and so that you could play any of the classic iPod games, including updates for like later iPod classics, the Clickwheel games and stuff that was later, for various versions. They wanted to have everything. And one of the cool things was they only had so many copies, but the article came out and people kind of came out of the woodwork to support the project. Like, reporting on this effort increased the amount of visibility on the project, and then led to them getting more of the games. And as of so originally they got a lot of it. There were 54 official iPod Clickwheel games, and up until today, the most they ever had was 53. But now they've got Real Soccer 2009. And so all of them are available. You can use the GitHub repository of the iPod Clickwheel Games Preservation Project. And then you got to supply the games. They're out there, of course. There is an archive of them. They're archived out there. But if you want to check those out. So basically, they had to, because they don't have access to it, they had to get people's iPods. And one of the biggest issues of this was people's iPods were like, so people were trying to back up their old Clickwheel iPods, and in the effort to use those, in order to back them up, they were crashing their old iPods or bricking them or whatever, or they wouldn't show up on Explorer and all that. It became like this ever increasing issue where people would send him their iPods and they would get damaged in shipping. And it was just like this complete and utter disaster trying to get these things together. And eventually they got everything they needed. I put a lot of time into coaching people that had problems transferring the files and authorizing the account once with me on the virtual machine, because of course he had to have access to it. But I kept motivated to continue coaching anyone else coming to me and making regular posts to increase awareness until I could finally find someone that could, this time, go with me through all the steps of the preservation process for Real Soccer 2009. Multiple people came to me during the summer and all attempts failed until a new one from yesterday. I even had a situation where someone had an iPod Nano 5G with a playable copy of Real Soccer, but the drive was appearing empty in the Windows Explorer. Tried recovery tools and the iPod Nano corrupted itself, asking for recovery. Ugh. And they said one Mac hard drive and two iPod hard drives died when the people were trying to back up the game files. And apparently they use a version of iTunes 12 in the virtual machine, because later versions don't allow for downloading those apps. You think Song Summoner was the only iPod game you owned? I definitely had something. I had something. I don't know if it was that, but I had something on there. Yeah, and it's going to work. So you can do that. You can go set up a virtual machine using the GitHub instructions if you want to do it. This is a quote that I really love for someone wrote about the project. The iPod version of Sonic the Hedgehog was my introduction to the franchise as a kid, and it got me into speedrunning. To this day, the easiest version of the game for me to play due to the ingrained muscle memory. And that person is obviously broken inside, but also that's a fun story. That's the thing. I don't think my iPod could ever play games that didn't have a color screen, and if it did, I had my you had GBA. Yeah, so this was later versions of the iPod. This is the one with the click wheel that was color. It was like the video iPod, basically. Like that version of it was the ones that you could, if you wanted to, play some games on it. My iPod Classic, which was just an iPhone, with an old iPhone, I had games on that for sure. I know, but I don't know if I had that many games on my iPod. But I definitely had some, because I had to keep buying fucking iPods because I used them for work. And then I would buy an iPod. Do you remember the version? I think it's the 3rd gen where it had 4 buttons. It had 4 physical buttons on it. That iPod sucked shit, and it was really bad for work, which is what I used the iPod for. So eventually I sold that to a friend and bought a better iPod that worked better for what I needed to do, which was play music consistently. I needed to play music when I wanted to play music at work. And then eventually I stopped doing that. And then I had an iPod Classic, which I still have somewhere, and that iPod Classic became my house music. Now, when I say house music, I do not mean like drum and bass or anything like that. When I speak about house music, I mean music that plays in the house. And in this case, the house means music that the audience hears at a theater or comedy club or venue of any kind. It is the music that is playing when you come into it. It is not music from the TV show House. I'm John. No. Also, hi, I'm John. I'm John. Also, says SP Gang. I hear you. I hear you, and I see you. No. So what I'm talking about here is when you walk into a comedy room or a theater or whatever, there is music playing, and that is the house music, because that is music that the house hears as they come in. It is generally, if you don't have a board and you can't have multiple inputs, you could have house music play on the same system that you use to play audio from the show and video from the show and all that. But to me, it was always easier to just have an iPod Touch or whatever, or an iPod Classic or something, or my phone with music on it. And I like to have an old iPod Touch instead of my phone, because then I can use my phone as my phone. And I had one of those for work, and you know what? It was honestly very helpful to have that back in the day, because an iPod Touch, Spotify worked on it, YouTube Music worked on it, Rdio, when I had Rdio as an app, and so I would just make playlists and then use it for that, and it worked out just fine. Back in those days when I needed that. Using a phone as a phone, that's impossible. Yeah, I mean, obviously, my phone was just, to hear things and do things, but, you know what I mean. But I didn't want to have my phone be the thing that I needed for 20 minutes before a show and 15 minutes after a show. I just wanted to have access to it when I needed it. I thought this article was interesting. And again, I always say this kind of thing. This kind of journalism is incredibly valuable because it's awareness journalism. Now, obviously, this awareness was, hey, somebody is trying to archive all of the click wheel games for the iPod, and that's not like revolutionary, and that's not like a thing that everybody needs to worry about or anyone needs to worry about. But it is something that, like, by writing that article last year, more people found out about it, because the kind of people that read Ars Technica are also the kind of people that would be interested in that cool GitHub and joining a Discord about it, you know? Like, oh, a friend of mine has an old iPod and has a bunch of games on it. Hey, I'll get them to join the Discord and we'll see if we can get, you know, access to, oh, do you have it? Maybe we have one of the games you don't have, you know, that kind of thing. It's invaluable. So, hell yeah. Love that. So look, I know that I am stepping into territory here where I am not going to in this attempt here. Lord Christ says, it's good since Apple doesn't give a shit about preserving that stuff. Yes, indeed, because they don't. It's good to get it done. And there was always a race against the clock because you never knew when this stuff was all going to go south. So they were trying to get things where, like, the process of trying to get stuff off of your old iPod might brick your iPod and all that. So this next story, look, I am not here trying to say we already lost the 32-bit app for Shin Megami Tensei and iOS. Yes, many things are lost to time. This story here. Look, I use ROMs. I own the carts. I understand other people don't. I'm not here to say that, like, people who are being tried here in court, Nintendo taking people to court. I'm not here to say that that's good on Nintendo, that they are just, of course, you know, they have to do this stuff. They do to a certain extent. And they're justified in everything. I'm not here to say that. These takedowns, they are what they are. What I'm saying is, don't be like Ryan Homebrew Homie Daily, the former person of Modded Hardware, a site that sold modded Switches that let you put homebrew or pirated versions of Switch games on it, and also sold tools that let you do it. I'm saying if you want to have ROMs of old games, you want to have backups of your stuff, you want to have ROMs of your current game, just because in case the cartridge gets stepped on, whatever. You want to have your personal backups, sure. But don't run a site don't try to make money off of fucking with Nintendo, because Nintendo doesn't play around. And then also, if you're gonna do shit like Ryan Homebrew Homie Daily, don't defend yourself in court on your own. You do have the right to an attorney. You shouldn't represent yourself in court. Who, by all intents and purposes, by all accounts, was delusional enough to think that he had a leg to stand on in this, which was just crazy. This lawsuit has been settled for $2 million, which is insane. That's too much money for what he did. And also, he can never touch modded equipment again, which is probably for the best for this unbelievable dumbass. The idea that you would not settle immediately when Nintendo comes knocking, that you would instead try to fight it in court, and that you would represent yourself, is just so dumb. And again, my feelings on Homebrew Homie and what Homebrew Homie was doing in this case are unrelated to my feelings on the right to have backups of your stuff and all of that. The idea that, hey, I'm going to mod my console. I'm going to mod my console so that it can do like homebrew and I can dick around in my console. I fucking bought it. I'm going to mess around with that. Like, I got no problem with you doing that. You want to buy a mod. You want to make things strange. You want to do some stuff to your Switch. You want to make your Switch wider for some reason. It's not wide enough. Whatever you want to do with it. Hell yeah, you bought it. Go nuts. But I would say if that extends to, I'm going to turn this into a business, then you're probably going to get fucking fucked. And I don't feel bad about you getting fucking fucked that way. Because, like, you really fucking goofed. Oh, man, there's so many stickers that need to go on this backpack. Okay, the bulk of the stickers appear to be backpack related, which is fine. I just didn't know that. Okay, so this is the one that looks like a Y, which is here. Little pink on the back of this kit. Good. And, look, if you were making this kit, you could fucking skip this. Who's going to look at the back of this kit? You're going to put it on a shelf. No one's going to see the back of it. But, we're doing our thing. So part of us doing our thing is that I am going to put all these stickers on here. They're ones that go on the bottom, but these are all this one here. And then those go there, and they're all the same. Okay. So yeah. Back in March of last year, Nintendo threatened to sue, and they agreed that basically they were like, "Hey, we're going to sue you," and he was like, "Please don't." And they were like, "All right," and they came to agreement that basically was just like, "Shut the site down, stop doing this shit." And then our guy was like, well, now that I think about it, what if I just lied to Nintendo? What could go wrong with lying? So he didn't do the stuff he said he would do. And then Nintendo was like, okay, well, now we're going to sue you. And then he was like, all right, I'm going to say I am innocent of all charges, which is a choice. And then he was like, I'm going to do it without a lawyer. And I'm just going to do whatever. His response was denied. Like, he denied it. He just said, like, nah, that ain't me. I didn't do any of this. Which is a bold thing to do. And then, so first he said, I didn't do it. And then he was like, this is fair use. And then also he was like, Nintendo acted unethically. It was just like, okay, all right, my guy. I don't know. This was in Seattle, the settlement that Daly has to pay Nintendo $2 million, has to hand over the URL of the website, which, yeah. And he, all of his technology that might contain means to infringe on the agreement is going to get seized. So they're going to take all his shit. There's a lot of things that he can't do that may get overturned in appeal if he had a lawyer. Maybe he'll get a lawyer now to appeal some of this lawsuit because it is, again, egregious in many ways about like what he can and can't do. And maybe he'll just ignore it and just do whatever. Doing Nintendo crimes at scale makes it easier to call like this. Yes, Lord Grashington, indeed. Like I said, I am not here to say Nintendo is in the right and they're a just and righteous cause. But like, if you're gonna fuck with Nintendo, they will not just say, oh, well, they got us. They sure showed us. Like, nah, man. If you want a war, Nintendo will go to war. They got money and they got lawyers, and they got Mario. So, like, you know. All right, there's a little sticker here that is not coming out. There it is. I got it. Also, they don't need that money. So it's like, yeah, whatever. At least this dude didn't go to jail. That guy Bowser went to jail. So at least, our guy's not going to jail. So far. We'll see what happens. But yeah, again, this is just me telling you that, like, get a lawyer. Like, get a lawyer. Now, would that lawyer have said, you should just fucking you should have settled the first time, my guy. What are you doing here? Probably. The lawyer probably, like, no lawyer is going to want to go against Nintendo in a lawsuit like that. Like, so yeah, I mean, the guy wasn't going to get the advice that he wanted, but tough. You done goofed. Lawyers like to stretch things out when they don't have to. Yes, Lord Crashington. There are lawyers that love to really lengthen these kind of cases. Sure. But also there are lawyers that don't, like, civil lawyers want to settle and move on to their next civil lawsuit. So they would like to, not every civil lawyer wants to go to trial. Most of them, in fact, don't want to go to trial. So in this case, they probably would have been like, you should fucking settle. Because this is not we are not suing them, they're suing you. Now, if you're suing somebody, especially civil, then your lawyer may try to make things go on forever. So to increase their chances of getting something they're actually looking for. But all right, we got to do more stickers here. I want to just see if this shows me the back of this kit. It doesn't show me what I want to see, which is okay, it does show me that. These are supposed to represent depth chargers, I guess, the back of that. But I wanted to see the bottom of... There's a lot of implied weapons on this kit, which is fine. I just wanted to see if I could see a single photo of the bottom of this kit. And I don't see that. Oh, okay, this is what I was looking for. This is what I was looking for, was on the back of it. I wanted to see, it's these stickers here that go on here. Okay, so it's okay. There is some plastic there that this represents. Okay, that makes sense. And the fin is mostly there. All right, great. I just wanted to see how these stickers are supposed to look when it's done so that I could really fully understand here. And then we want to do... this symbol is there. All right, let me just try to find any of these. Okay, this is this one. And that goes like there. That's this one. And okay, and that's this one, and that's that one. Okay. So I don't quite know how these go, and I'm just going to try to figure it out here. This doesn't properly, in my opinion, explain how these stickers work, but I can kind of hopefully figure it out. So this would go on, this is this sticker. I know that. I get this part. This sticker is going to go here. Let's use the toothpick here. Like, I understand that. That goes there. Now, where does this sticker go, though? Does this sticker go like this and then bend around? I think it does. Okay. Goes like that. Look at this fucking sticker. How's this supposed to work? It fucking wraps around the inside of this. This should be like 3 stickers. So I gotta do like... I gotta like bend it so it's in the middle, then shove it all the way in. Maybe use the knife, exact blade, Doug. Push it all the way in. It's all the way in there. And then when it's all the way in, use the toothpick to push in there. That's annoying. That is one of the more annoying stickers I've ever had to do. It looks cool. The effect looks cool. Now, imagine that this was just a piece of red plastic that fit in here instead. That would make life way easier than this. And I'm going to have to do it again on the other side. But it's not the end of the world, but like that was not my favorite sticker application. Yeah, that was not the best. One more news story here. Nothing much to say. As you know, a bunch of games that were supposed to come out and around last weekend, a bunch of game devs and publishers chose to delay their release to get out of the way of Silksong, because that was going to be a game that a bunch of people were going to purchase and to play, and then also a lot of people were going to watch streams of it, and it was just going to, and a lot of the folks were going to talk about it, and it was just going to eat up a bunch of space, and so a lot of games got out of their way. But not every game got out of their way. Some games were like, well, we're just going to come out when they come out. Including Atari. Atari published a game that came out around like hours, or within hours of Silksong. That game is called Adventurer of Samsara. Now, Pat, you might say to yourself, Pat, I've never heard of Adventure of Samsara, but I bet Adventure of Samsara, it must be a game that Atari was just like, well, it's so different that it won't matter. We're not going after the same audiences. It doesn't matter what it is. It'll do fine. Because not everyone's going to be playing Silksong. It's a 2D Metroidvania game. Atari published a 2D Metroidvania game the same day as Silksong. And according to John Walker of Kotaku, it's a good video game. It's not like they were just like, whatever. It is from Brazilian studio Elix Games, and it had on day one, now we don't know sales, but we can tell you that day one it had a peak player count of 12. And you got to imagine that even a day later, 2 days later, maybe we'll be higher than 12. Of all the games to push off, like, Baby Steps is a different audience. I think it's fine to argue that Demon School is a different audience. There's a lot of overlap. There'll probably be a lot of people that will play both. But, come on. It's apparently a good one. People like it. Let's see. They reached out to the developers and the publishers to be like, hey, what's going on? Apparently this just seems like we had to put this out like Atari didn't send a press release out about the game. Maybe they don't even know they published it. We don't know, but it seems like that's a good indication that they don't particularly care too much about this and how it did, because they could have delayed the release of it, and they just didn't. It's a weird misstep. They've got positive reviews, but again, not too many. Got an 8 from Video Chums and a 7 from Nintendo Life. But yeah, they have not gotten a response. It got released. It got announced 3 months ago, and then it came out on consoles and PC. But yeah, like I said, it might end up being, it might, it was just feels like it was sent to die even before Silksong date got announced. But real weird one. I found that interesting because I do like the idea of like, okay, well, who didn't move their game out of the way of Silksong? Like, who didn't? I think that is a fascinating thing to discuss. That is an interesting point to make. And it's like the fact that a game, the fucking Metroidvania came out the same day. It's just fucking wild. It's egregious. What are we doing? Sucks for those devs. It's real rough. I haven't gotten Silksong yet. I will get Silksong. I'm just not in a rush because I am bad at Metroidvanias. I was bad at Metroid. I was bad at Castlevanias. I've just always been bad at them. So I haven't gotten Silksong. I liked Hollow Knight quite a bit. So I will get Silksong at some point, and I will play it. And I will have a good time with it, I'm sure. But all right, so I can't put this backpack on yet until we build the all our goddamn hoses. The tubes. We got to build the tubes. The tubes, at least in this case, just seem to be these guys. I don't have to do much with them. I don't have to assemble them. I don't have to put beads together like you would on a master grade or a real grade. So that's a nice benefit. So D3 goes on this side of the table. I will take a pause for the cause in a moment or two. I'll talk about ways you can support the channel and all of that. A variety of methods if that's your bag. And then we will talk about some anime. We'll talk about episode of Silent Witch that I didn't talk about over the weekend. And then we'll talk about Ruri Rocks, which I'm just going through the motions on. I'm going to finish Ruri Rocks. I don't necessarily think it's a good one of those. I think it's fine. I think it is too technical of a show, but we'll talk about it. Because, like, the thing is, most of what I would talk about on a show like this is, like, the fun facts. And it's just like, I don't find them particularly fun myself. Like, other people probably have a different opinion. But, yeah, I'm not super into the show. And I would like to be. I would like to be more into it. But I am not. But we will talk about it. It's not going to make my Kuma Baer list next month. I'll say that. I think it's fair to say that will not be on my Kuma Baer list. All right, I don't know how this is supposed to work here. Hold on. This is D3. D3 goes up and then down. I don't want these to break, and they feel like they could break at any time. So I'm like trying to be gentle with this. Okay, so that's that one. That's that one. And so this comes up, and then it goes down like that. All right. So this is D10. D10 just kind of goes in, but I don't know what it does when it goes in. And then this goes like this. Oh, it fell out. Mm-hmm. I am not 100% sure how to get these connected, but we'll get them connected, then we'll take a pause for the cause when we get. But yeah, I am not 100% sure I am doing this properly. In fact, I know I'm not. All right, so then this goes in like that, and that goes like that. Okay. I think the answer is it's just loose in the back, which is fine. I'm okay with that. And then this goes like this. All right. As long as they're connected on the sides and the front here, I am okay with them being loose in the back because that's fine. I don't care about that. And there's no panel line that needs to get done with these hoses, so great. The hoses are done. The hoses are done. We now move on to the head, which has one sticker on it. And of course, I'm going to read what this says, and then we'll take the pause for the cause and do all that. 1, 2, 3. Okay, go over here. Go to Google Translate. Look at this photo. What are you telling me? You say, can be pasted anywhere you like. Seal. Okay. Put the sticker where you want it, is what this says. Also, I forgot that the Zaku Mariner that we are building here, I forgot the Zaku Mariner has, the head has like a snorkel. I forgot this thing's got a goddamn snorkel. Such a dumb kit. I really like it. It's a very dumb kit. I really like it. All right. Let's go over here. Hi. Now is the part of the stream where I'm going to talk to you about ways. Yeah, see, I definitely need to change this. This is coloring here, not right, not what I want. We'll come to it later. Anyway, now is the part of the stream where I want to hear from you to let you know what you can do to help me out. We'll tell you about this thing. So I'm going to talk to you about ways you can support the channel. They're optional. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but if you want to, that'd be great. First and foremost, if you're currently a subscriber to the Build with Bear workshop, you're a subscriber here, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the tier 2 blue emote in chat. Being a subscriber is the easiest way to support what I do here through your Prime Gaming token, as we saw here, or Cash Money. Lashbrook and Nathan use their token, which is great. Lashbrook says, look, the designers at Xeon Anaheim Electronics were able to sell anything and everything. Indeed. But yeah, being a subscriber is the easiest way to support what I do here through Cash Money or your Prime Gaming token. You could gift a sub. We are currently in the midst of September. So if you want to jump in on September and save some money and become a subscriber and save yourself cash, you could do that. You could gift a sub, top the gift sub leaderboard, or bits and coins, always appreciated. You could do that as well. That would be great. We'd love that if you want to get on board that way. We haven't had any gifted subs since I want to say like July, maybe definitely in June for my birthday subathon. We might not have any gifted subs since June. So if you want to get on that, you can. You don't have to, but you can. There are other ways to support me, like Patreon at patreon.com/PatBear. Over on my Patreon, you can of course subscribe for $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. There are different rewards for different tiers. Consider joining me on Patreon. I should say over on the Patreon, my $3, $5, and $10 patrons have been voting on what I do tomorrow. So you can come by tomorrow night for my Tuesday bonus stream. And that stream is, of course, as I said, was being voted on. I'm going to tell you the results of that poll because I don't know what the results are because I didn't look at it today. I think I know who won, but I'm just going to double check. And the winner is, of course, Kato's Post Office. So Kato's Post Office is the game that I will be playing here. Let's see. Can I do what I got to do here? Yeah. Whatever. People can still vote. It's just I'm not going to look at it. Kato's Post Office, which is a cute game. I'll be checking that out tomorrow. So come by tomorrow and see that. But my patrons, my $3, $5, and $10 patrons voted on that. My $10 patrons voted on this kit as the thing that I would be working on tonight. So I'm very happy for them. Thank you for that. And they'll be voting again on what I do after this is done, because I'm going to finish this kit up on Thursday. And so I'm going to have to put a poll out on Wednesday about what I build next. Let's see. Yeah, so there's that. I have a YouTube channel at youtube.com/PatBear. Where's the link to that? There it is. Over on my YouTube channel, you can, of course, subscribe for free. But if you want to become a member over there, for just $2 a month, you can become a member. And what does a membership get you? Well, it gets you this cool thing where you get to see my Wednesday videos on Tuesday. So tomorrow, I will post the upcoming Kuma Baer video, and you'll be able to see that before other people will get to see it. You'll get to see me continue to talk about my favorite isekai, some of my favorite isekai, and I believe that Tuesday/Wednesday's video is the first Kuma Baer where I didn't have an animated GIF because I couldn't find a good animated GIF of the show, which is wild to say, but true. Just happened. It's weird. What was I going to say? Is there anything else I want to say here? Yeah, there's that. Those are all monthly ways to support me. If you just want to throw $1 or $2 in my tip jar, I got a Ko-Fi and I got a PayPal, and you can do that there. Everything I make through direct donations through YouTube, which includes AdSense, so watching my videos helps me out, through Patreon and through Twitch, all goes into a fund, and out of that fund I pull money out to buy model kits and occasionally equipment, but mostly model kits and Lego sets. This kit I bought off, no, I didn't buy this off my own wish list. I bought this off USA Gundam Store, but your generous subscriptions in the past made this possible. So I was able to pick that up, which is great. And then, speaking of which, I have a backlog of stuff I'd be happy to build. If you wanted to buy something for me to build, you could always go to my Amazon wish list. Much like Aristofan did when they bought me this camera that I'm using right now, which I need to lock in because it's not perfect, but it's getting there. But yeah, check my wish list out. They're doing a thing that every few months they fuck up and they mess around with how you want to sort your list. I want to sort it custom, not date added, but whatever. That's how they roll. It's a really annoying thing. But anyway, I got my list here, and you can see my list of model kits and Lego sets, inexpensive kits, expensive kits. I recently added another Dragon Ball Daima kit. The Mega Pokemon of the Geodude that moves around, the mini motion Geodude. That's a reduced in price. It's now $20. It's usually been more than that. So if you'd like to see me put that together, I do like to do the Pokemon Mega Constructs, so see that. Lego model kits, old kits, new kits, all kinds of things and things. I will have probably more when they come out. I'll have more of the Gundam stuff, the new stuff from the most recent Gundam series, G-Quux. Tomorrow, I'm getting the Red Gundam tomorrow in the mail. So that'll go, in my backlog. But if you want to buy something else for me to build, there's some Lego and various things on there. You can pick that up, and it'll jump the queue. Be the next thing I work on. So that's a thing you could do. My alternative to Amazon is I have wish lists on Throne, and it's nice to have alternatives out there because some people don't want to use Amazon, and I fucking get it. And then the most convoluted way to support me financially is to go to USA Gundam Store. USA Gundam Store, you can buy a gift card. They will send you an email with your gift card code. Then you can send me a whisper on Twitch or a DM on Twitter or Mastodon or Blue Sky with that gift card code, and then I will use that gift card code to buy something for to build on USA Gundam Store, and that would be neat. It'd be nice and neat and cool. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. You just chill. If you want to support me without spending any money, well, you can just go to my Discord, hang out there. People just recently have been posting stuff they've been working on, and that's great. I love seeing that. We have a building photos channel, and people post photos of their building stuff, the projects they're working on. It's cool. I really, really do love that. I genuinely am thrilled when people want to share. It's awesome. Let's see. What else? A couple of video links. And we'll get back into it. Pat Baer's Anime Club is my ongoing video series. I have a new one coming out next Monday, but the most current one is me talking about some anime that's based on video games. Not video games based on anime, the other way. Maybe it's a light novel that did, or not light, a visual novel that did really well. Or just like a cool show that really, its cutscenes felt like an anime already. And so people are like, I'm going to watch this now. I'm like, yeah. You should check that out. At the very least, it allowed me to talk about my favorite couple episodes in one particular show, if not gush about a lot of them. And then the reminder at the end that Pokemon is indeed the video game first. There are a lot of people that watch the anime that I don't know if they ever played the video game, and probably vice versa as well. And then Kuma Baer is my anime recommendation series, my weekly series. And I'm in the midst of Isekai month in September. And so I talked about Magic Knight Rayearth, a show that is just fucking gorgeous. A beautiful show of its certainly from its time. Back before we called those kind of shows Isekai, where at most you would call them like Alice in Wonderland likes or something like that. Because, as I've said, the traditional Isekai with the female lead is because of the influence of Western storytelling of that ilk, like Alice in Wonderland and Wizard of Oz and stuff like that. That then eventually led to some Japanese writing to kind of played off of that eventually led to the first popular Isekai. Magic Knight Rayearth being one of them, Shugiyuki being another, Escaflowne, stuff like that, Inuyasha, those kinds of stories. Or that's that. And then that led to the explosion of other Isekai that had what if dudes? And that sort. But anyway, watch that video where I gush about Magic Knight Rayearth, then check it out. And then as I mentioned at the top of the stream, I linked to it on my socials. My Kuma Baer about Bloom Into You at the end of September. Bloom Into You will not be available on High Dive. Please watch that show if you haven't. It's great. You will be able to find it in other means, but if you want to watch it legally, because that's how you roll, you've got a month. It's no longer on Hulu. It'll be off High Dive at the end of the month. There's no indication of if it will show up on another service like Crunchyroll. You know, it's too modern for Retro Crush. When it comes to queer anime, watch it as it airs or shortly after it airs, because who the fuck knows these days? So, please watch it, because Bloom Into You is fucking great. One of the best modern queer stories in anime. All right, I've got some anime to talk about. More anime. We'll chat about Secrets of the Silent Witch and Ruri Rocks in just a moment. Before I get into that anime talk, I need to drink some water. We got to transition back to the overhead camera. I got to resume building this model kit, and we'll do all of that right now. All right. We'll get back into this in a second. Mchan wants me to hit the dance button, and you know what? For you, Mchan, I will. Thank you for using your channel points. Yeah, it's a little funky. It's a fun one. All right, so I shouldn't do any of this right now. I should not look at any of this. The gain, the white balance, the gamma, sharpness. This is fun. I'm going to turn the auto white balance off. This is me turning the auto white balance off What the fuck? Why did this happen like this? So if I turn it back on. So that's obviously not what we want. But I probably want to be less pale. Yes, you look sick. So, but also I think I look sick like this. So it's like, what is that? What is that? Is it the gamma? No, it's not the gamma, because that's not affecting that. So we'll hit that on default. Is it the saturation? Well, that makes me black and white. It might be the saturation. I don't know. I have to play around with it. I've got to see what's going on. I don't even know what well, it's definitely not the gain. The gain that's fucking great. It's definitely not the gain. I mean, yeah. I have to play around with it. I got to see what I can do. Is it the saturation? I'll just take all the saturation all the way down. There, that solved it, right? We're better off now than we were before, right? I mean, actually, I do think I could play around with saturation and probably use that. I also need to like look on it dead on because I'm doing it on my third monitor, and that's terrible. It's a terrible choice. All of this is a terrible choice. Bump the brightness up. Drop the brightness down. Split the difference of the brightness. Go back to default setting. Anyway, I'm going to keep it on default for right now, but I do need to play around with it because, like, this is not... I feel paler than I should be in this. I want it to look more natural than it does. So I got to fix that. But I can't fix that now. What I can do now is talk about anime. We'll talk about some anime. What are we doing on this kit now? Oh yeah, we're working on the head. We're going to work on the head, including a sticker. We've got one sticker here to do right now. And then we'll work on the head more and all that. So let's get into that. Let's start with this episode of Ruri Rocks. I don't have much to say about this, again, because it's like, it's so technical and so dense in its technicalness that, like, most of my recap would just be me poorly explaining concepts that are, like, somewhat explained in the show. So I'm not going to worry about that. Basically, everybody went out to a historically well-known in the area manganese mine. And Yoko was Yoko's in charge, and Yoko was like not super interested in doing that and feeling a way about it. And there's a lot of discussion about what you can do with manganese and all of that, and it was like very fucking detailed. And as I said, I kind of like, oh shit, all right, man, we are learning about manganese. Okay. And there is a rail tunnel that is collapsed, which blocks their way. And so that is obviously incredibly frustrating for the crew. And so they start looking around on these tracks. They start looking for samples that may have fallen due to seismic activity. And they find some rhododite and rhodochrositite. And they're starting to realize, oh, this is not naturally found here. This is a reaction to something. At some point, people that use this mine were using some potentially toxic stuff as track ballast. So basically, it was just like, maybe it was, maybe they were doing it for like emergency repairs. That was like the most generous thing, was they were using stuff that was probably toxic. So it was kind of interesting in that we got this like lesson about, geology, not just a study of the rocks that are there, but can tell a story of the world the world of the past, and like that is a ongoing element of this show, is that you can learn a lot from these rocks that can teach you a lot of stuff, which is like yeah, that's cool. But again, I don't particularly think that it's that engaging myself. All right, so it goes like this. That goes there. And then anywhere along here, I can put the sticker. And then this is going to go on over the sticker. So this does not have an eyeball. Sadly. It is just a circle. Now, some people like to offset it so you can see all of the circle. So they'll put it something like there. And some people like to put it in the middle, so it cuts in half. I generally prefer the middle myself. I like to see the line of it, cut it off, because it isn't going to be able to move around. So I'm going to do that. I might be slightly off center because I am not great at applying stickers, but I'm going to shoot for center. That. And then place this here. Yeah. I like this. It's slightly off center, but this is how I like to do that. Like that. Yeah, you can see it there. Slightly off center, but still there. Great. All right, and then we got to put more stuff on this before we can do any panel lining. So we'll get more things on there. That might be the last sticker of the stream for tonight anyway. But we'll see. And then we're going to put more of this scuba gear on there. The very silliness that is all of this fucking gear. Let's see. And then we'll jump over. That was Ruri Rocks, as I said. A lot about manganese. And then so I will say this. Maybe more interesting than other stuff. The conversations around the idea that by looking at these rocks, you can see if people were using illegal items. It's like, that's kind of interesting. So I didn't hate that, but. All right. So over at Secrets of the Silent Witch, most recent episode, we found out that, unfortunately, our girl, she had made a friend named Casey, but Casey was there undercover as an assassin to take out the prince. And basically, they're going to torture a confession out of Casey to find out what happened. But Monica is just like, hey, Casey is from the same place that the first prince's mother is from. It could be an incident if you go to torture her. This could be an international incident. You might want to back off on that. On doing that. All right. So why is this not locking in place? This piece is not locking in place. Hold on. I'm going to stand up here. So we're going to go to this screen for a second. So I can go and get what I need. This. Plug this back in. I did not have this at easy access. Liquid cements. This piece is supposed to sit like here and isn't. So I am going to make it do that. Well, we'll see. Actually, hold on. Maybe I don't need it. Maybe if I put this on, it will stay in place. All right, it doesn't stay great in place, but it does lock in there. All right, so I don't need to do liquid cement for this. I can just do it as it is. But it is good to have my liquid cement in easily accessible place, and I'll put that back there. Okay, so we're not going to use liquid cement on this for the snorkel, but we'll leave it like that. Okay, yeah. So. Basically, Lewis is just like, okay, we're going to show leniency to Casey, but we're going to exile her to a convent. Like, no matter what, she tried to kill the prince. And we can't let that happen. Even if politically, it'd be wise to like make this not be as not kill her or anything or torture her, but we can't just let her go scot-free. So that is the compromise that is made. And basically, Casey's just like, hey, it would be so much better if you just hated me. Like, it would make things easier. You probably should just hate me. And Monica's just like, you were one of my first friends. Like, I'm not able to do that. Which is sad. I think this is good. This is good and big. So we'll go with that one here. And that's the end of that one there. Felix, the prince, does not know that this attempt on his life took place, but he does learn about that something happened. That because while Luis is fixing the barrier, he's talking about how now he doesn't say Monica, he says the Silent Witch. And apparently Felix is a big fan of the Silent Witch, doesn't know what she looks like, doesn't know that his classmate Monica is the Silent Witch, because that would ruin everything. But apparently he's a big fan of the witch. Little does he know. 3 days later, Isabella is feeling under the weather, which may come back later. Monica is starting her horse riding course, and she's having trouble on the horse because that is not a thing she ever... She's a maid. She doesn't need to ride a horse, but she's learning it and having trouble. But Felix is giving her pointers because he's well acquainted with it, so they get to spend some time together, and that's nice. And also it's good because she's there to protect his life, so it's practical as well as a cute little scene. Monica has a chess match with Elliot, and Elliot talks about a time where Felix fell from a tree, and Elliot was blamed for it, for not watching him properly, but Felix came to Elliot's defense. And then he kind of realizes that Monica is a lot like Felix in his youth. And maybe that's why Felix is interested in Monica. Because he does have a kind of more than you would expect interest. We would expect it because it's a story and she's the main character, but they're kind of surprised that he has such an interest in this weird, quiet girl that is socially awkward. Monica finds out that Casey's assassination attempt was kept quiet, because of course it would be. And Cyril is blamed for the wood that fell on her and Casey. So Cyril is taken unfair punishment and blame for something that she didn't have anything to do with, which, that sucks, but it makes sense why they didn't say, hey, the prince almost got assassinated. Weird, right? They keep that under the, from saying anything there. And that really negatively affects Monica. Monica is like feeling really rough on this assignment. And she kind of just breaks down. Claudia takes her back to her dorm. And then we get hey, it's episode 9, and we just had one assassination attempt. Oh, something else is coming up. One of the whole reasons why she's there is our girl is there is because Mary Harvey, who is the Star Seeker Witch of the Seven Sages, she's the one that can see the future. She knew some stuff was going to go down, which is why Monica's there. She can't see a future for Felix. So as things stand right now, Felix is going to die. Which is like, uh-oh. But we only have like 3 more episodes to enact that and then solve that problem. So we'll see if those problems get solved. I feel very bad for Monica. I have now gone back on my previous thoughts. Originally, when I started watching the show, my thought was, this is such a nice girl. She just wants to be left alone. She's already served her country, her kingdom. It would be cool if they just left her alone to just be a witch and be by herself and be comfortable. And then she started making friends and she was having a good time. And I'm like, oh, all right, well, it is nice that she's like enjoying a bit of her teen years, like an actual, human and having adventures and experiences. But now she's dealing with heartbreak. And I'm like, I don't know if this was worth it. Maybe by the end of the season, I'll be like, it was worth it. But right now, I'm like, they should have left her alone. God damn it. Shouldn't owe them shit. Making her deal with consequences and stuff and feeling bad. And her friend betrayed her and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh, man. Real rough out there for her. It's rough out there. I think we're working on these shoulders here that have implied weapons. These weapons you can't see, but they are implied to be shooting out of the submariner. Once again, I'm calling it the Mariner because there's also the Zaku Marine is also a name for this kit that came out later. So I do want to call it the Marine. I'm only building one of these at a time. Okay, so I'll build that. These are just extra parts we got out. Put these over here. And we'll do it later. Now is the part of the stream where I want to hear from you. Sorry, my headphones are all out of whack here. I want to hear from you, friends. What are you watching right now? What are you playing? What are you up to? What are you into? Do you got anything that you're excited about here on the old internet? Let me know. I always love hearing from you about those things. If you're playing any games and such, you're doing anything cool. Do you have a good weekend? Stuff that's going on with you. I want to hear about it. So please consider letting me know what the deal is. I'll tell you that I got another silly deck in Hearthstone. Right now I have two very goofy decks that I'm enjoying quite a bit. I believe one of them will get nerfed. My goal is to stream Hearthstone next week, and I'm hoping that by next Tuesday, the one deck I have that's very goofy doesn't... I think one of them could get nerfed, and it will still be a good deck. But if the other one gets nerfed, it's not going to be a good deck anymore. People have been doing variations of this, but I still think mine's the funnest. It's a boar deck, and it's very dumb. And very consistent in its dumbness. So... Hey, when I said we didn't have any more stickers? We do have more stickers for tonight. I thought we were done with the stickers for tonight, but we're not. Gotta do 3 more here. But yeah, I'm having a really good time with Hearthstone, and I am still playing Nubby's Number Factory, still waiting on the update that's coming, that is going to be the cosmetic stuff. Because that sounds silly and fun. But yeah, I'm still playing that. Still playing Pokemon Pocket TCG. Just trying to catch them all. Open packs twice a day. See what's up. Do some wonder picks. Having a good time over there. And with that, very easy, very fun. I'm looking for another... I would love a new match 3 for my phone. I would love a new match 3 game for when I'm on the exercise bike or when I'm walking. I'm still looking for something there. I had one for a bit, but I got to the point where it seems like they shut down the servers for it. So a lot of the bonus stuff doesn't work anymore. Like they've abandoned the game, which is a shame. Like some of it still works, but other stuff doesn't. And that a lot of the stuff that doesn't work for it anymore is making it not a fun experience. So I dropped that match 3. So I'm looking for a new match 3. And it would be very nice if I could find one that I like, because, like I said, I either go for a walk or I ride a bike in the garage, and so I am always looking for games to play on my phone while I do those. To make life a little bit more manageable with those things, to distract me or to just, have something to do while I'm walking. I have an old Pokemon match 3 that I've been playing. Pokemon Shuffle, that game is no longer, like, it still works. It's no longer supported with new updates, so eventually it will stop working on phones, but right now it still works. And I've been playing that as a replacement, but it's not enough. I need another Match 3 game to play, and so hopefully I'll be able to find one that clicks. I haven't put the call out for them. I should do that again. If anyone wants to recommend a Match 3 on their phones, I would be interested in that. Dirty says, started playing The First Descendant a few weeks back, and last night I watched the first 45 minutes-ish of MGS1 according to my time played. Although I haven't started a new game yet, I was just watching the briefings. Okay, hell yeah. Well, have fun with that. I hope you have fun with The First Descendant. Dirty says, I still remember when Mobius FF closed down. Yeah. These things happen. These things certainly do happen. Lashberg says, still playing the Diablo 1 mod? Hell yeah. I hope you're having a great time with that. That rules. It's fun, but I'm starting to run into the problem that since they made the maps random, you basically need to clear 2 levels of the dungeon in a sitting to make any progress. Oh, that's not fun. Also, I realized I actually have access to Hulu and watched all of Alien Earth so far and I'm really enjoying it. Nice. Hell yeah. That's always fun. They're like, wait, I can watch things on there? Like, I have not watched, as of right now, as the time of this chatting with you. Oops, the wrong one. I have not watched any of The Paper. I have not checked out The Paper, which is the Office spinoff. But I do have Peacock, so I could watch it. I just haven't. I was like, maybe I should check that out. I don't know. I do sometimes forget that I pay for Peacock because I don't really watch WWE much anymore. And that was the reason why I was getting Peacock in the first place. And then eventually, I got Peacock because my mom wants to watch a Law and Order that's only on Peacock. So that's the reason why I still have it. And then eventually I like to get rid of it because I don't really need it. Also, I did start to watch this year when I was watching Eurovision. It's on Peacock. But their feed sounded really shitty. So I eventually just watched a YouTube version where you did not have to have, I believe it was Sweden. Sweden did not require a VPN to watch it. So I just watched Sweden's coverage instead because the audio was way fucking better, which was really frustrating. It was really annoying. All right, let's get some of this ARM together here. The problem with that is I just hear the name and think of Read or Die. Okay. Yeah, Lastbrook, I hear you. Sometimes you think of another thing. You don't think of the thing. I gotcha. We're looking for 5. Yeah, that's right. 5. And then lots of polycaps to make this kit work, which makes sense, especially for the time period. This is a 2012 kit that's very old in its styling. And this feels way older than 2012, let me tell you. This feels like ancient. And this is obviously a reissue. It didn't come out in 2012. I don't know when this kit did get reissued, but I know it's not 2012. But it feels like the design, all the elements of this kit feel just fucking ancient. 2 and 3. And it's supposed to be the double Zeta version, but it feels a little bit more like the unicorn version, my opinion. In my opinion. What do I know? But that's what it feels like. But some of these polycaps, the way they come together, just feels so goddamn old school. Lord Crashton played some more Silksong, which is still fun. Hell yeah. I was watching some people play Silksong this weekend. That was a good time. It's very funny to watch people that are like, I loved Hollow Knight, or I love these kinds of games, and it's another one of these, and I'm so excited. And then I did tune into somebody who was like, I got it because everyone was talking about it. Oh, I don't like these kinds of games. And that was very fucking funny to watch someone just be like, I am not having a great time with this. I can appreciate this being a gorgeous game, but this is not what I'm looking for. And they don't do, it's like, I just heard this person go, wow, these devs do not care if I'm having a bad time, huh? And it's like, yeah, they don't care about that. They have their vision for the game. They do not care about you. You can try to get some mods working for it if you want accessibility stuff, but like difficulty slider stuff. But yes, Team Cherry does not care about your feelings. Team Cherry has a vision. The 3 members of Team Cherry and the many contractors they worked with. Do not get it twisted. This is not... Team Cherry might just have 3 people on the books, but more than 3 people made this fucking video game. This very frustrating shit that comes out there. Like, oh, how come the team could do this? Like, because there are not a lot of them. And they took a long time to make the game because they had a really big hit. And instead of growing their business, hey, you know what? Team Cherry, if they wanted to, could have brought on more people. So they didn't have to have as many contractors they had. They could have had more part-time or full-time work. But then you have higher overhead and you have more expectations. So it's a give and take balance. And the balance they chose was still 3 people on this plus a bunch of contractors. And in that way, we can just fucking take our time because we're only paying people, for the moment what they're doing. And then we can just have fucking infinite time and not have to worry about it. Which is, again, I think admirable and cool as hell. But also when people are like, well, how come this game's better than other games that took less time and had more people on it? Is this because they had a fucking hit and they invested the money on the hit on fucking living and taking their time and not being terminally online. And it's kind of amazing that works for them, but it's not like the gotcha that some people fucking think it is. It's not the like, oh, well, this just goes to prove the point I've had forever about whatever. It's like, nah, this doesn't prove shit. This proves that creativity can happen in a sustainable way, and some people can live like that when you take out the risk. Like the financial risk, right? They made so much fucking money on Hollow Knight that they were able to take their sweet ass time on Silksong. And that's the only reason. Because like the only time they had a publisher was for the physical copy, right? So they had a publisher for that, but that's how many physical copies of Hollow Knight came out. It was, it was small. And that's the only time they had that. And so then they just get to live off of that money while they worked on the next thing. Instead of staffing up and making a bunch of sequel offshoots and doing another big project that had like scope creep that just like kept going and going and going. It's like, yeah, they were able to do this and it's admirable and fucking cool as hell. But 1, it's not replicable. And 2, it ain't fucking 3 people. And that also is dangerous. They still made the choice. They still made the choice to not have any of those people work under like as employees of Team Cherry. Like they still made the choice to have them be contract workers. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad it's good. I've enjoyed watching some people stream it. I think that's been fun. But yeah, I'm already tired of the fucking discourse. The discourse is also always rough, but yeah. I've seen people try to say they're not indie anymore because Hollow Knight sold too well, which seems like a stretch. Yeah. Are they owned by a big corporation? No, then they're indie. You can call them big indie, capital A indie. You can say that. There have been people that talk about like various companies as being big indie because they've had successes. But no, Team Cherry's an indie developer. They're independent. That's the part of indie. Now, if you want to talk about independent as a vibe, then you could talk about even small games that are made by big companies as indie. If the indie only means to you a certain kind of vibe and you know it when you see it, sure. But if you're talking about like what the word means, then yeah, Team Cherry is independent. They're independently wealthy, but they're independent. Like, yeah, that to me is just like it's a weird thing because there's so many criticisms to have about their operation that you can make if you want to make, that being like, what? Nah. They just have the funding secured for their next game because their game sold well. Yes. Yeah. They're a successful indie. They are an actual successful indie. They are this is my full-time job and I can take my time on it indie, which is wild and great and cool for them. They didn't have to sell the IP to a big company. They didn't have to get bought out to survive. They had a success for a game that was kickstarted and did really well, and now they get to reap the rewards of it, which is not having to worry about what happens next. And that's cool. And we like that, and we're happy for them. This does not stick well in there. I might have to use some tape in here, or not tape, putty or something. Blue tack or something, but this hand does not stay in. And if I put a weapon on it, I know it's going to fucking fall off. Yeah, Lord Crashton, you love to see it. Like, genuinely, you love to see it, and I'm happy for them. I'm not trying to take anything away from how hard they worked and, all that. But, yeah, for people to say that they're not a real indie, it's just like, man, I don't know what to tell you. If you think independent game development means that you have to struggle constantly, then that says a lot about you and where you fall on all this stuff than it does about Team Cherry. Like, is Toby Fox not an indie developer because Undertale was and Deltarune's doing really well, but Undertale was such a fucking important thing? Is Toby Fox now not an indie dev? He's a mainstream AAA dev? Like, nah. Fuck that. No, he is. Greg Kasavin, is he not an indie dev because Hades did so well? They were indie devs when they made Bastion, but not Hades. Hades did too well, so they're not indie. It's like, come on. We made a lot of progress on this kit. We will continue to make progress on this kit in the future. I will be working on the other arm and the legs. And I think I'll finish this kit up on Thursday is my guess. And the weapon, I might have to change this hand around. It feels kind of loose in there. But we might finish this kit on Thursday. I will have a poll on Wednesday for my patrons, my $10 patrons, about what I should do next once this kit is completed. But because we might finish it on Thursday, I don't know. But we got a lot done, and I'm happy to say that. New camera, still working on the stuff. We talked about that. We'll talk about more about that tomorrow. Lord Crash says, indie is only for devs that fear what their next game's funding will come from and have to sacrifice their earnings to keep the company afloat. Yes, indie means that you kept your day job and you are constantly worried about what's going on with your next game and if it'll ever come out. Yeah. All right, so what's going to happen now is we are going to raid. We're going to go find someone doing cool stuff that we want to go hang out with because that's fun and we like doing that. So we'll go do that. For some reason, my 25 games list here, I can't close out of, so that's weird. Anyway, we always end with a raid, as John says. We're going to go find someone doing cool stuff. As I get set up for this raid, a reminder that tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, I will be playing Kato's Post Office, which is a cute-looking little game that I picked up on sale, and I'm excited to try that out. Came out last month. And I am looking forward to seeing that. We talked about Silk Song, Hollow Knight Silk Song, of course, and we're going to go check out some more of that because Mary Kish is playing it. And so we want to go hang out with Mary. It's Mary Monday. Mary has been playing for a bit. I assume she'll play for a bit more. So we'll go hang out with Mary. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I hope you'll come along on this raid. I hope you come back tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern for some gaming. I hope you had a good time here tonight. I had a great time. I will see you on the next stream, which tomorrow, or come back on Thursday. And talk to everybody later. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.